Okay, and good morning, and this is Marlene Dinarios here, and we are continuing on with our Solfeggio lessons. This is now lesson number 3, and we're going to look at the idea of mutation and how mutation works. We're using the Baroque method of calling the notes, which means that the medieval ut, the ut of Guido, has now become do, do. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Now we start, this is a hexachord on C. This is the natural hexachord. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And the thing to note, of course, is do, re, mi, fa, mi, fa, mi, fa, mi, fa is always on the semitone. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So once you know this hexachord system, for example, you were to pick up a stringed instrument like a lute or a guitar, once you find the mi, fas on the fretboard, mi, fa, then you know where the hexachords are, and then you know how the fretboard works. So this system was very quick, and the musicians that trained it this way could move from one instrument to another reasonably quickly. Obviously they couldn't master all of the instruments, but they could play without too much trouble after a short amount of investigation of how the structure of that particular instrument worked. But here we are on the harpsichord. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So that's our natural hexachord. Next we move to the hard hexachord. To revise, we move up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes. So this is alla quinta, on the 5th. Alla quinta, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's on G. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And finally, the molle, the soft hexachord, do, re, mi, fa, alla quarta, on the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4, alla quarta. So we're starting on F. Do, re, mi. Now we need a semitone. So we can't go there. So where do we go? Do, re, mi, fa, aha. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Now if you can't sing, doesn't matter. For the first year or so in the conservatories in Naples, when the apprentices were learning, they actually didn't sing the hexachords, they just said them. The idea was that they were too young and they would ruin their voices, so they shouldn't be singing at such a tender young age, and they should only start to sing once their voices had matured somewhat. So if you wanted to say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, that's perfectly fine. And you are actually doing what was historically done. So I'm going to feel bad about it. Isn't that wonderful? Now, we're moving on. How on earth do we go beyond these 6 notes? Because we know there are 8 notes in an octave, right? So what do we do? Because here we have 6 notes. 1. Right? We are stuck. Are we? No, we have something called a mutation, a mutation. And we mutate alla quarta, or we mutate alla quinta. And this is how it works. We move from one hexachord into another hexachord. So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, do, re, mi, fa, sol. So this is G, sol. This is G, sol. And it's also the ut we use the old nomenclature, the old naming system for the names of the notes. It's also the ut of the G hexachord. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, ut. So this is G, do, re, mi, fa, sol, G, sol. It's also G, ut. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, ut. And we're going to add one more thing to it. We're going to give it something else. So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. So if we do the soft hexachord, alla quarta, 1, 2, 3, 4, do, re, that G is re. So this is actually G, sol, re, ut. And that's what its name was in the 18th century. If Mozart would have called it that, he wouldn't have called it G, he would have said G, sol, re, ut, G, sol, re, ut, G, sol, re, ut. And all of the notes have names that are like this. So we don't just call them A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Each of them has its hexachord notes also attached to its name. G, sol, re, ut. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. 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 Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. So G, sol, re, ut. So we've done. Now we're going to do our mutation. Our mutation is going to be alla quinta. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is where we mutate. And this now becomes the next note of the next hexachord. So we could go do, re, mi, fa, sol. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, sol, and go on down. But we don't do that. We do this. Pay attention. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, sol, la. So the do is not said. We just jump to re of the next hexachord. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. And then this do is now silent. We could go do, but we don't. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, sol, la. And on the way down, la, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi. Now this la, sol, fa, mi occurs all over the place in Baroque music. And it can occur in different hexachords. And if you are playing, you can jump from one to the other. But the notes are the same. La, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi. Right? Different, but still the same notes. So let's go back to our mutation. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi. Notice, fa, mi, semitone, la, sol, fa, mi. And then we jump to the next hexachord. La, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So the scale has got do, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, sol, la. We go until that's our scale. And I've got big hands. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, so that's good for the natural hexachord. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. Running into the hard hexachord. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi. And then back to the natural. La, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Now, this is still, it's still in the very, very beginning territory. You really have to internalize these, because when we move on to solfeggio with music, you need to be able to just sing the solfeggio when you're reading the music, which means you have to be able to know the scale. So remember, as we're going up, we have one scale. As we go down, we have another scale. So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, sol, la. That's the scale up. And the scale down, la, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. two different scales, one for up and one for down. So if you are singing solfeggio to a piece of music, sometimes you have to choose if the notes are going up or going down for what you sing, and of course this will then affect your phrasing. So there's something very, very simple, right? Do, re, mi, fa, right? Do, re, mi, fa, la, do, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, do, re, mi, fa, la, do, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa. Right? It seems very simple, but it will give you a headache in the beginning. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So that is the hexachord on C, mutated onto the natural hexachord. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, mutated onto the hard hexachord. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, 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 la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Also, one practice I suggest you do is this. You take your keyboard and you start with the first hexachord. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Now when you go out of your range, you can just speak the hexachords, or you can sing them in a bad singing voice. The solfetto. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol. Oh, he's not playing. There we go. La, sol. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa. Okay, so, and then you start going back. So, la, sol, la, sol, la, sol. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, la. Okay, we're out of tune. Okay, I need to tune my harpsichord in the top two notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So let's start from here. La, sol, fa, mi, re, do. 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 So you go up and down the keyboard doing your hexachords backwards and forwards until you are very familiar with them. So that is our lesson for this morning. Okay? And I'll continue on with the next set of mutations, which goes from the natural hexachord to the soft hexachord, and of course you can go the other way around. There are many combinations, but and which way you start on natural, you start on the hard, and so on and so forth. There are variations, many variations, but this is the first of the mutations. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now, and if you want to support me, you can find me at Latinum, the Latinum Institute. Bye.